Have you ever wished you could hear the voices of the past? Not just read their words, but actually hear them speak? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, what if I told you that a discovery in an ancient Chinese tomb might have turned that fiction into a startling reality? Get ready, because today we're delving into the mystery of the stone that recorded human voices. Picture this. Archaeologists are carefully excavating a 2,000-year-old tomb from the Han Dynasty. They're finding the usual incredible artifacts: pottery, bronze vessels, intricate jade pieces. But then they come across something completely unexpected: a seemingly ordinary block of granite about the size of a shoebox resting near the sarcophagus. As they move it, a team member swears they hear something, a faint, almost inaudible whisper. They stop. Silence. They move it again, and there it is. A ghostly murmur, seemingly coming from the stone itself. Initially, they dismissed it. The mind plays tricks in the silence of a tomb. It could be the wind, the shifting of earth, anything. But the whispers persisted, too distinct to be random noise. The lead archaeologist, a seasoned expert named Professor Chen, was intrigued. Against the skepticism of some of his colleagues, he decided to take this mystery seriously. The granite block was carefully transported to a state-of-the-art acoustics laboratory in Shanghai, a place more accustomed to analyzing satellite signals than ancient rocks. The lab technicians were baffled. Their first thought was a hoax. Maybe a tiny modern recording device had been hidden inside. They scanned it with X-rays, gamma rays, every imaging technology available. The results were clear. It was a solid, homogeneous block of granite. There were no cavities, no electronics, no hidden tricks. The stone was just stone. Yet the whispers remained. The real breakthrough came when they placed the stone in an anechoic chamber, a room designed to be completely silent, absorbing all sound reflections. They used highly sensitive microphones, the kind that can pick up the sound of a pin dropping from a mile away. As they gently applied pressure to different points on the stone's surface, the whispers became clearer. It wasn't just noise, it was structured, rhythmic. It sounded like human speech. The team was electrified. They spent weeks meticulously mapping the stone's surface, applying precise microvibrations to coax out the sounds. The signals were incredibly faint, buried under millennia of geological noise. Using sophisticated audio filtering software designed to clean up signals from deep space probes, they began to isolate the fragments of sound. It was like sonic archaeology, chipping away at the noise to reveal the message hidden within. And what they found was breathtaking. After countless hours of digital restoration, a voice emerged from the silence of 2,000 years. It was a man's voice, speaking in an archaic dialect of ancient Chinese. The words were fragmented, but a sentence could be pieced together. It translated roughly to, "May my spirit find peace. May my line endure." It was a funerary prayer, the voice of someone, perhaps a son or priest speaking at the tomb's ceiling, their words somehow imprinted onto the very rock. So, how is this even possible? The leading theory is as fascinating as the discovery itself. It revolves around a phenomenon known as piezoelectricity. Certain crystals, like the quartz found in granite, can generate an electric charge when subjected to mechanical stress. Conversely, when you apply an electric field to them, they deform. This is the principle behind modern microphones and speakers. The hypothesis is that as the tomb was sealed, the powerful emotional sound waves from the speaker's voice struck the granite block. The vibrations created a minute but specific mechanical stress on the quartz crystals within the stone. This stress generated a unique electrical pattern, which in turn caused a microscopic, permanent rearrangement of the crystal lattice. In essence, the sound waves were physically etched into the molecular structure of the rock. The stone became an accidental, natural phonograph record. To play it back, the scientists in the lab were essentially reversing the process. By applying precise vibrations, they were stimulating the rearranged crystals to release a faint electrical signal that mirrored the original recording. The signal, when amplified and converted back into sound, recreated the voice from 2 millennia ago. Think about the implications of this. We've always relied on written text to understand the past, but writing can be formal, edited, and often only represents the views of the elite. This stone gives us something else entirely. A raw, unfiltered moment of human emotion, the actual sound of a person's grief and hope, preserved in stone. It adds a completely new dimension to our connection with history. It's not just reading about a person from the Han Dynasty, it's hearing their voice resonate in our own time. Of course, this discovery has been met with a healthy dose of academic debate. Some scientists argue that the phenomenon is impossible, that any such recording would have degraded over centuries. They suggest the voices could be a form of pareidolia, where the brain finds patterns in random noise, or perhaps some other unknown geological phenomenon. It's a valid point. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. However, the team in Shanghai has been working to replicate the effect. In controlled experiments, they have successfully recorded simple tones onto similar granite blocks using powerful sound waves and have been able to retrieve them, albeit with great difficulty. While this doesn't definitively prove the ancient recording is real, it shows that the underlying principle is scientifically plausible. The research is ongoing, and labs around the world are now re-examining other stone artifacts, wondering what secrets they might be holding. Could the Great Pyramids contain the voices of their builders? Could Stonehenge hold the chants of ancient Druids? This single granite block from a Chinese tomb has opened up a tantalizing new field of possibility. It suggests that history might not be as silent as we thought. It might be whispering to us from the very stones that surround us, just waiting for us to learn how to listen. This story bridges the gap between ancient history and cutting-edge physics, turning a simple rock into a time capsule of sound. It reminds us that the world is full of wonders, and sometimes the greatest mysteries are hidden in the most ordinary objects, waiting for a curious mind to ask the right questions. What do you think? Could stone truly record sound, or is it just wishful thinking? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the past. If you enjoyed this exploration of history's hidden secrets, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of our world. We'll see you in the next video. For centuries, whispers of a lost civilization, a city of impossible technology and wisdom, have echoed through our myths. Atlantis. A name that conjures images of shimmering towers beneath the waves, a utopia swallowed by the sea. For most, it's just a story, a legend told to children. But what if I told you that a piece of that legend might have just surfaced? Today, we're diving deep, not just into the ocean, but into a mystery that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about our own history. This isn't just another tale, it's about a tangible object, a device recovered from the abyssal depths that defies our understanding of science. They're calling it the Atlantean compass, and its story begins where most maps end. It was a routine deep-sea salvage operation, miles off the coast in a region known for its treacherous currents and ancient shipwrecks. The crew of the research vessel Odyssey was mapping the seafloor when their sonar picked up an anomaly. It wasn't a wreck, at least not one they could identify. It was small, metallic, and buried under centuries of sediment. What they brought to the surface looked like a relic from another world. Imagine a bronze disc, about the size of a dinner plate, intricately carved with symbols that don't belong to any known culture. Not Greek, not Roman, not Egyptian. The craftsmanship was exquisite, a mesmerizing pattern of interlocking circles and lines that seemed to shift in the light. But the real marvel was at its center. Encased in what appeared to be a crystal-clear, unscratchable material was a needle. Not a magnetic needle like in a normal compass, but a sliver of an unknown, obsidian-like metal, floating freely in a strange, viscous liquid. On the deck of the Odyssey, the crew gathered around, baffled. They brought out their own compasses, their phones, every navigational tool they had. North was north, south was south. Everything worked perfectly. But the bronze artifact? Its needle was going haywire. It spun erratically, a frantic dance with no rhyme or reason. It wasn't responding to the Earth's magnetic field at all. Some of the crew joked it was broken, a useless piece of ancient junk. But Dr. Eris Thorne, the lead archaeologist on board, knew they had found something extraordinary. Dr. Thorne and his team took the artifact back to their lab, a state-of-the-art facility dedicated to analyzing marine discoveries. For weeks, they ran every test imaginable. Carbon dating was inconclusive. The materials seemed to resist the process. Spectrometry showed a composition of bronze mixed with trace elements they had never encountered before. It was stronger, more resistant to corrosion than any alloy known to man. It had spent millennia at the bottom of the ocean and looked as if it had been forged yesterday. The mystery of the spinning needle, however, remained the biggest puzzle. It ignored magnets. It was unaffected by electrical fields. It seemed to be operating on a principle of physics that we simply haven't discovered yet. The team was stumped. The media got wind of the discovery, and the nickname stuck: the Atlantean compass. A compass that pointed nowhere. But that's where they were wrong. It wasn't pointing nowhere. It was just looking for something. The breakthrough came from a young, brilliant astrophysicist named Dr. Lena Petrova, who was consulting on the project. She noticed something no one else had. The needle's chaotic spinning wasn't entirely random. There was a pattern, a subtle rhythm to its madness. She hypothesized that the compass wasn't searching for a magnetic pole, but for a specific, unique energy signature. A signal. Her idea was radical. What if they could isolate the compass from all known terrestrial interference? They constructed a null chamber, a room shielded from all electromagnetic radiation, seismic vibrations, and even cosmic rays. It was the quietest place on Earth. With bated breath, they placed the bronze compass inside. For a moment, nothing happened. The needle continued its frantic spinning. Disappointment began to creep into the room. And then, it stopped. As if it had finally found a moment of peace, the needle slowed, wavered, and then locked into place with a definitive click that echoed in the silent chamber. It was steady, unmoving. It was pointing. The team erupted. They checked the orientation. The needle wasn't pointing north or south or to any geographical landmark. It was pointing slightly downward, at a precise and unwavering angle. They cross-referenced the direction with global maps, running complex calculations. And the result sent a shiver down everyone's spine. The Atlantean compass was pointing to a single, infinitesimally small spot on the globe. A location in the deepest, most unexplored part of our planet, the Mariana Trench. Not just the trench itself, but a specific, uncharted point within its abyssal depths, over 36,000 feet below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. A place we've never seen. A place our submersibles have never reached. The implications were staggering. This ancient device, built by an unknown civilization, was a navigational tool of unparalleled sophistication. It wasn't designed to find a direction, but a destination. A destination hidden in the most inaccessible place on Earth. What could possibly be down there? What kind of power source could emit a signal strong enough to be detected by this compass? A signal that cuts through the entire planet. Could it be the source of the compass's own power? Or is it pointing to something it was meant to find? A city, a power station, the remnants of the very civilization that built it? The legend of Atlantis speaks of a city powered by a mighty crystal, a source of immense energy, an energy that, in the wrong hands or through a cataclysmic event, led to their downfall. Is it possible that this crystal, or something like it, still lies dormant in the crushing darkness of the trench, emitting a faint, timeless pulse that only its own technology can detect. This discovery has launched the most ambitious deep-sea expedition in human history. A new submersible, the Hades, is being constructed, designed to withstand the crushing pressures of the trench and follow the compass's silent direction. Dr. Thorne and Dr. Petrova will be leading the mission. They aren't just chasing a legend anymore. They're following a map. What will they find when they reach that point? Will they uncover the secrets of a lost chapter of human history? Or will they awaken something that was meant to stay sleeping in the dark? The compass has shown us the way. Now, we just have to have the courage to follow. The journey to the heart of the mystery has just begun, and the whole world is watching. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the unknown. What do you think lies at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you love mysteries that challenge everything we know, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our follow-up on this amazing story. Until next time, stay curious. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, a place where sunlight barely touches the forest floor, lies a mystery that defies everything we know about ancient civilizations. Imagine stumbling upon colossal stone structures, not just any ruins, but something far more strange, a lost observatory unlike any other on Earth. This isn't just a story, it's a journey into the heart of an enigma that local tribes say was built to open gates between worlds. For centuries, whispers have echoed through the jungle, tales of a forgotten city of giants, a place of immense power hidden by a near-impenetrable curtain of green. These weren't just campfire stories. They were warnings. The local tribes, who have called this forest home for millennia, speak of the ancients, a civilization so advanced their technology was indistinguishable from magic. They claim these builders didn't just chart the stars, they harnessed their light. Our story begins with the fragmented accounts of early explorers, men who ventured into the Amazon's depths and returned with feverish tales of impossible architecture. Most were dismissed as hallucinations, the ravings of minds broken by the jungle. But one account from a 19th-century botanist named Dr. Eris Thorne was different. His journal, long gathering dust in a forgotten archive, contained detailed sketches. It showed massive circular stone structures, intricately carved with celestial patterns, but the most bizarre detail was the centerpiece of each structure, a perfectly polished, lens-shaped crystal, some as large as a person. Thorne wrote that these weren't just decorations. He believed they were lenses, giant stone lenses designed for a purpose he couldn't comprehend. He noted their precise alignment, not just with the sun, but with the moon's path across the sky. His theory was radical. This was an observatory, but one that operated primarily at night. He speculated that on specific lunar phases, especially during a full moon at its zenith, the stone lenses would gather and focus moonlight into a single, powerful beam. A laser of moonlight. For over 100 years, Thorne's journal was considered fiction. No one could find his supposed location. The jungle, as it always does, had reclaimed its secrets. But modern technology has a way of revealing the past. Just recently, using advanced satellite imaging and LiDAR technology, which can digitally strip away the forest canopy, researchers detected a pattern of anomalies deep in an uncharted section of the Brazilian rainforest. The shapes matched Thorne's sketches with uncanny accuracy. An expedition was quickly assembled, a team of archaeologists, astrophysicists, and survival experts. What they found would change history. After weeks of grueling trekking, they emerged into a clearing that felt different. The air was still, and an unnatural silence hung over a complex of cyclopean stone rings. The ruins were real, weathered by centuries but undeniably man-made, or perhaps not man-made at all. The sheer scale was breathtaking. The stones were fitted together with a precision that modern machinery would struggle to replicate. And in the center of the largest ring, just as Thorne had described, was the lens. It was a massive, convex disk of what appeared to be obsidian or a similar volcanic glass, polished to a flawless mirror finish. It was angled perfectly towards the heavens. The team's astrophysicist ran the calculations. The alignment was perfect. On the night of the next full moon, if the sky was clear, the lens would indeed focus the moonlight into a concentrated point just a few meters above the ground. This is where the story takes a turn from astounding archaeology to something far more profound. The local tribe, who had cautiously guided the expedition, shared their oral traditions. They call the site Inti's Eye, but they don't believe it was for looking at the stars. They claim it was for interacting with them. Their legends state that when the moonfire is summoned, it doesn't just create light, it thins the veil between our world and others. It opens a gate. The tribal elders speak of a time when the ancients would use the focused moonlight to communicate, not just with beings from the stars, but with beings from parallel dimensions. They describe shimmering doorways of light, through which strange figures would emerge, sharing knowledge and technology before vanishing back into the celestial portal. They say the ancients themselves didn't die out, they simply left through one of the gates they had opened, leaving their powerful instrument behind as a silent sentinel. Is this possible? Could focused moonlight, an idea that sounds like science fiction, actually have properties we don't understand? Quantum physics is beginning to explore ideas that were once considered mystical. Entanglement, extra dimensions, the nature of reality itself. Could an ancient civilization have mastered a form of physics that we are only just beginning to theorize about? Think about it. Light is energy. Moonlight is just reflected sunlight, but perhaps its properties are different. Maybe its cooled, filtered journey to Earth gives it unique qualities. The team's initial analysis of the stone lenses revealed trace elements not found anywhere in the Amazon basin, suggesting they were either transported from thousands of miles away or, more chillingly, that they aren't from Earth at all. The expedition decided to wait for the full moon. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and a fair amount of fear. As dusk fell, the jungle came alive with its usual chorus, but as the moon climbed higher, a hush fell over the ruins. The moonlight began to wash over the giant stone lens. Slowly, incredibly, a faint shimmer appeared in the air above it. As the moon reached its peak, this shimmer intensified, coalescing into a single, brilliant point of silvery white light, suspended in midair. It didn't radiate heat, but the air around it crackled with static energy. The light wasn't just bright, it seemed to have depth, to be a window into somewhere else. The team's instruments went haywire. Compasses spun wildly and spectrum analyzers returned impossible readings. The tribe members began a low, rhythmic chant, a song they said was meant to stabilize the gate. For a brief, terrifying moment, the point of light expanded, twisting into a shimmering, ethereal doorway. Shapes and colors that defy description swirled within its frame. It was exactly as the legends described. Before anyone could react, a sudden cloud bank obscured the moon. The beam vanished instantly. The gate snapped shut, leaving only the memory of its impossible existence and the ozone-like smell of charged air. The expedition left with more questions than answers. They had photographic evidence of the beam of moonlight, but the gate itself remained elusive, a fleeting glimpse into the unknown. What was this place? Was it an observatory? A communication device? A transportation system? Who were the ancients who built it, and where did they go? The prevailing theory among the more open-minded members of the team is that the focused moonlight creates a localized gravitational or dimensional anomaly, a pinprick in the fabric of space-time. Perhaps the legends are true. Perhaps, for a brief window every month, a lost observatory in the heart of the Amazon becomes a gateway to the stars and beyond. The ruins are now a protected site, under intense study. But the greatest secrets may not lie in the stones, but in the moonlight they were built to capture, and the worlds they were built to open. The Amazon keeps its secrets well, but sometimes it lets us peek through the keyhole. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the unknown. What do you think is the true purpose of the Amazon Observatory? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you love exploring the world's greatest mysteries, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep questioning. Have you ever heard of a weapon so powerful it could literally burn the sky? It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. But what if I told you that ancient civilizations might have possessed technology that we are only just beginning to understand? Today, we're journeying deep into the mountains of Peru to uncover the mystery of a legendary artifact known as the sun disk of Mu, an object rumored to have harnessed the power of the sun itself. The story begins not with a dusty relic, but with enigmatic carvings found etched into stone high in the Andes. These ancient petroglyphs, created by a civilization that predates even the Incas, depict a fascinating scene. We see figures, believed to be priests or shamans, standing on mountain peaks. They are holding what appear to be large, polished discs, or perhaps mirrors, all angled precisely towards a single point in the clouds. It's a strange and specific image. Why would they carve this? Was it a record of a ritual, a myth, or a blueprint for a forgotten technology? For centuries, these carvings were dismissed as symbolic art, representations of sun worship, a common practice among ancient Andean cultures. The sun, or Inti, was the most powerful deity for the Incas and their predecessors. It brought light, warmth, and life. So, priests honoring the sun with golden discs? It makes perfect sense, right? But the story doesn't end there. The legends surrounding these carvings speak of something more than just worship. They talk of a great golden disc, a gift from the sky gods, that could focus the sun's rays with unimaginable intensity. According to these oral traditions, passed down through generations, this sun disk was not just a symbol. It was a tool of immense power. It was said that when aligned correctly, following the instructions left by the gods, it could call down fire from the heavens. Some legends describe it as a defensive weapon, capable of incinerating entire armies from a distance. Others suggest it was used to manipulate the weather, to part the clouds and bring sunlight to ripen crops, or even to open gateways to other dimensions. The most dramatic tales claim it could burn a hole in the sky. A wild exaggeration, surely. Or was it? This is where the story takes a sharp turn from ancient legend to modern science. For decades, the tales of the sun disk were just that, tales. But then came the age of satellite technology. In the late 20th century, as satellites began mapping our planet with incredible precision, they started picking up anomalies, strange readings that didn't fit known geological or atmospheric patterns. One such anomaly was detected over a remote, almost inaccessible plateau in the Peruvian Andes. Scientists were baffled. The satellite was registering faint but persistent traces of unusual radiation. It wasn't the kind of radiation you'd find from natural uranium deposits or cosmic rays. It was different, almost like the faint, lingering signature of an intense energy event that happened a very, very long time ago. The scientific community proposed various theories: a rare meteorological phenomenon, a localized magnetic field anomaly, or perhaps just a flaw in the satellite's sensors. But one researcher, an archaeologist who was also familiar with local folklore, noticed something incredible. When he plotted the coordinates of the radiation anomaly on a map, it corresponded exactly, and I mean exactly, to the location depicted in the ancient stone carvings. The very spot where the priests were shown aiming their golden mirrors was the epicenter of this strange, residual energy signature. Suddenly, the myths didn't seem so mythical anymore. Could the carvings be a literal depiction of an event that left a physical trace, a scar on the environment detectable thousands of years later? Let's think about this. How could ancient people create such a device? The idea of a massive, parabolic mirror concentrating solar energy isn't fantasy. We use the same principle today in solar power plants. A parabolic dish reflects sunlight to a single focal point, generating immense heat. The Archimedes heat ray is a famous, if debated, example from antiquity, supposedly used to set Roman ships on fire. Now, imagine that concept scaled up, using a massive disk of polished gold, a metal the Incas and their predecessors were masters of working with. Could a civilization, with a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and metallurgy, have constructed a giant golden mirror? A disk so large and so perfectly shaped that it could focus a sunbeam into a concentrated sphere of energy? If so, aiming it at the sky isn't as strange as it sounds. Focusing that much energy on the atmosphere could have dramatic effects. It could superheat the air, ionize gas particles, and potentially create a localized burst of plasma, a phenomenon that would absolutely look like burning a hole in the sky. And an event like that, a massive discharge of energy, could very well leave behind a detectable radioactive signature, a faint echo picked up by our 21st century satellites. This theory connects the dots in a way that is just mind-blowing. The carvings become a technical diagram. The legends become eyewitness accounts. And the satellite data becomes the forensic evidence. It suggests a level of technological sophistication that history books tell us simply should not have existed back then. So, what happened to this incredible device? Here, the legends converge on a single, dramatic event: the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. As the invaders swept through the land, plundering gold and destroying sacred sites, the Inca priests knew their most powerful and sacred object was in danger. They could not allow the sun disk to fall into the hands of those who would misuse its power. According to the stories, in a final, desperate act, the priests took the disk and hid it. Some legends say it was taken to a secret city deep in the Amazon jungle, a place like Paititi, the lost city of gold. Others say it was cast into the depths of Lake Titicaca, the sacred body of water from which the first Inca was born. And a third, more esoteric theory is that the disk wasn't just hidden, it was deactivated, or perhaps used one last time to open a portal through which the priests and their knowledge escaped, vanishing from our world entirely. To this day, treasure hunters and explorers are still searching for the sun disk of Mu, convinced it lies hidden somewhere in the vast, unexplored wilderness of Peru. So, we are left with a tantalizing puzzle. We have ancient art depicting a specific event. We have persistent legends describing a powerful technology. And we have modern scientific data that seems to corroborate both. Was the sun disk a real artifact? A piece of advanced ancient technology capable of harnessing the power of our star? Did a lost civilization in Peru figure out something about solar physics that we are only now rediscovering? Or is this all just a fantastic coincidence? A series of unrelated facts that our pattern-seeking brains have woven into a compelling narrative. The truth, for now, remains hidden, perhaps waiting in a jungle ruin or at the bottom of a sacred lake. But the evidence suggests that we should be careful about underestimating the knowledge and capabilities of the ancients. The line between myth and history is often thinner than we think. And sometimes the most incredible legends are the ones that turn out to be true. What do you think? Was the sun disk a real, sky-burning superweapon? Or is there a more mundane explanation for the radiation and the carvings? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I'd love to read what you all think about this incredible mystery. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient mysteries, please hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever felt that strange sensation, that feeling that ancient places are somehow alive? It's a feeling that sends a shiver down your spine, a whisper from the past that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Today, we're journeying deep into the sun-scorched deserts of Sudan, to a place where this feeling isn't just a fantasy. It's a measurable, physical reality. we're going to uncover the story of a buried pyramid that doesn't just sit silently under the sand. It beats like a heart. Imagine this: a team of dedicated researchers surrounded by nothing but endless dunes and the blazing African sun. They're not hunting for gold or treasure in the traditional sense. They're armed with highly sensitive seismic equipment, instruments designed to listen to the very faintest tremors of the earth. Their goal is to map the hidden structures of a long-lost civilization, to create a picture of what lies beneath their feet. They place their sensors, switch on their gear, and wait. What they found wasn't what they were expecting at all. It was something far more bizarre, far more profound. On their screens, a pattern began to emerge, a rhythmic pulse. It wasn't random, like the groan of shifting rock or a distant earthquake. This was regular, consistent, and strangely familiar. The team checked their equipment, recalibrated everything, and ran the tests again. The result was the same: a steady, rhythmic beat emanating from the very core of a buried pyramid they had just begun to map. They timed the interval between each pulse, and a collective gasp must have filled the research tent. The rhythm was almost identical to a resting human heartbeat. A pyramid, buried for millennia, was pulsing with the rhythm of life. Now, before we go any further, let's set the scene. We're not in Egypt, with its famous Giza pyramids. We are in Sudan, home to the ancient kingdom of Kush. This powerful civilization, also known as Nubia, was a contemporary of ancient Egypt. Sometimes its rival, sometimes its ruler. The Kushite pharaohs also built pyramids, but they are distinctly different, smaller, with much steeper sides. Hundreds of these pyramids dot the Sudanese landscape, many of them still unexcavated, holding secrets we are only just beginning to unlock. The pyramid in our story is one of these enigmatic structures, a silent testament to a forgotten dynasty. Until now, that is. So, the first question that explodes in your mind is, how? How is this even possible? Is it some kind of ancient, undiscovered technology? A power source built by a civilization we've drastically underestimated? The initial theories from the researchers were, understandably, grounded in geology. Perhaps it was a natural phenomenon. Water, trapped deep within the pyramid's chambers, could be heating up and cooling down, causing pressure changes that create a rhythmic pulse. Think of it like a natural geyser, but on a much smaller, more regular scale. The pyramid's structure could be acting as a giant resonating chamber, amplifying this subtle effect until it becomes detectable. This trapped water theory is plausible. The desert environment is one of extremes. Intense daytime heat could cause water to expand, and the cold desert night could cause it to contract. If this cycle happened within a perfectly sealed chamber, it could theoretically create a regular pressure pulse. The pyramid's precise geometry, the specific materials used in its construction, could all contribute to turning a simple physical process into something that mimics a heartbeat. It's a fascinating idea that the ancients, perhaps unintentionally, built a structure that breathes with the rhythm of the desert itself. But let's be honest, that's the rational explanation. And while it might be true, it's not the one that captures the imagination, is it? So, let's explore the more out-there possibilities, the ones that make this story so compelling. What if this wasn't an accident? What if the Kushite builders engineered this effect on purpose? We know ancient civilizations had an incredible understanding of acoustics, resonance, and astronomy. They built structures like Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza with alignments that are still mind-bogglingly precise. Could the Heartbeat Pyramid have been a ceremonial center? Imagine a ritual where priests and pharaohs would gather. The rhythmic pulse of the pyramid, felt through the very ground they stood on, would have been a powerful, awe-inspiring experience. It could have been used to induce trance-like states, to connect with their gods, or to symbolize the eternal life of the pharaoh buried within. The pyramid wouldn't just be a tomb. It would be a living monument, its heartbeat a constant reminder of the king's enduring power, his heart beating for all eternity. This idea transforms the pyramid from a pile of stone into a dynamic, interactive piece of spiritual technology. And this leads us to an even deeper mystery: the purpose. If it was intentional, what knowledge did they possess that we've lost? The concept of resonance is key here. Everything in the universe has a resonant frequency, a natural rate at which it vibrates. We see this in music, with instruments, and in physics. Some researchers in alternative fields believe that ancient cultures understood how to harness these frequencies for profound effects, for healing, for consciousness alteration, or even for levitation. Now, that's a huge leap, I know, but when faced with a pyramid that beats like a heart, you have to keep an open mind. Could the pyramid's pulse have been designed to have a physiological effect on those nearby? We know that certain sound frequencies, like binaural beats, can affect our brainwaves, promoting relaxation or focus. Perhaps this seismic pulse, this ultra-low frequency, was a form of ancient sound therapy. It's a wild thought, but not entirely without precedent. The use of chanting, drumming, and specific acoustic spaces for spiritual and healing purposes is a common thread throughout human history. The Kushites might have simply taken it to an architectural, geological scale. The implications are staggering. We often view ancient people through a modern lens, seeing them as primitive. But what if they were masters of sciences we are only just beginning to rediscover? Sciences that integrated physics, biology, and spirituality in ways we can't yet comprehend. This discovery in the Sudanese desert forces us to reconsider the technological and spiritual capabilities of the Kingdom of Kush. They weren't just imitating their Egyptian neighbors, they were innovators in their own right, carving their own path and, just maybe, building structures that interact with the fundamental forces of nature. The research is ongoing, of course. Scientists are working to create a complete 3D model of the pyramid's interior using non-invasive methods. They hope to pinpoint the exact source of the pulse and determine its mechanism. Will they find a hidden chamber with a complex hydraulic system? Or will the source remain a mystery, a geological anomaly perfectly amplified by ancient architecture? Whatever the answer, the heartbeat pyramid has already changed our perspective. It reminds us that the desert sands still hold profound secrets, and that the ancient world was a far stranger and more wonderful place than we can possibly imagine. It's a powerful reminder that there are still mysteries out there, waiting to be found, and some of them have a pulse. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the heart of the Sudan desert. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the world's greatest mysteries. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep questioning. Deep beneath the rolling hills of Tuscany, nestled under the ancient stones of the San Galgano Abbey, lies a secret that has been whispering through the corridors of time for nearly 1,000 years. It's a place where history, myth, and science collide, a place spoken of only in hushed tones by the most dedicated scholars of the arcane. This isn't just a story of monks and monasteries, it's the story of the forgotten fountain of the alchemists. For centuries, local legends have told of a hidden chamber beneath the abbey, a place forbidden to all but a select few. They spoke of a strange light, a constant, low hum that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself, and a fountain that didn't flow with water but with liquid starlight. For generations, these were dismissed as mere folklore, the fanciful tales of a superstitious past. But what if I told you that recent, clandestine explorations have suggested these legends might hold a kernel of astonishing truth? The story begins with the Cistercian monks who founded the abbey in the 12th century. They were known for their piety, their architectural genius, and their deep knowledge of herbalism. But among them, a secretive group practiced a much older, more mysterious art: alchemy. Not the simple quest to turn lead into gold, but a far more profound endeavor: the pursuit of the prima materia, the first matter, the fundamental substance from which all creation was said to have sprung. These alchemist monks believed they had found a unique geological anomaly directly beneath their chosen site, a natural wellspring not of water, but of pure, elemental mercury. To them, this wasn't just a chemical curiosity, it was a divine gift, the physical manifestation of the planet Mercury, the key to unlocking the secrets of transmutation and longevity. They called it the Fountain of Argentum Vivum, the Fountain of Living Silver. Imagine descending down a winding stone staircase, hidden behind a false wall in the abbey's scriptorium. The air grows cooler, damper, and a strange, almost electrical vibration begins to thrum through the soles of your feet. As you reach the bottom, you enter a circular chamber, its walls carved with celestial charts and alchemical symbols. And there, in the center, is the source of the hum, a pool, perhaps 10 feet across, filled with a shimmering, undulating liquid. It's not water, it's a vast basin of liquid silver, swirling with an internal energy, catching the dim torchlight and scattering it into 1,000 dancing diamonds. The legends say that every drop emits this faint, almost musical hum. Modern physics might explain this as a form of sonoluminescence, but to the monks it was the music of the spheres, the voice of the cosmos itself. They would spend hours, even days, meditating by its edge, believing the vibrations could realign the body's humors and purify the soul. They believed it was a direct line to the divine, a scrying pool that could reveal the future and the past. And this is where the story takes an even stranger turn. The most persistent and unsettling part of the legend concerns the reflections in the pool. When you look into the shimmering surface of the mercury, it doesn't just reflect your own face. For a fleeting moment, other faces appear, superimposed over your own. Faces of men and women from different eras, a Roman legionary, a Renaissance noblewoman, a child with eyes full of ancient wisdom. They are not ghosts in the traditional sense. They are more like echoes, trapped within the reflective medium. The alchemists had a theory for this phenomenon. They believed the mercury, being the prima materia, existed outside the normal flow of time. They theorized that it acted as a temporal mirror, reflecting not just the present, but all the potential moments, past, present, and future, that were connected to that specific point in space. The faces weren't spirits of the dead, but reflections of other souls who had, or would, stand in that very spot throughout history. It was a crossroads of timelines, captured in liquid form. Think about the implications of that. The monks weren't just trying to create gold, they were studying the very fabric of reality. They meticulously documented the faces they saw, trying to map the flow of time and understand humanity's place within it. These records, known as the Speculum Animarum, or the Mirror of Souls, are rumored to be hidden somewhere within the Vatican's secret archives, a priceless and perhaps terrifying account of what the fountain revealed. But what happened to the fountain? Why was it forgotten? As the age of faith gave way to the age of reason, the practice of alchemy became viewed as heresy. The Inquisition's shadow grew long, and the Cistercian alchemists knew their secret was in grave danger. To protect their sacred wellspring, they sealed the entrance to the chamber, wiping its existence from official records and swearing an oath of silence that was passed down through a secret lineage. The fountain was abandoned, left to hum in the darkness beneath the abbey, its secrets once again becoming the stuff of legend. For over 500 years, it remained undisturbed. The abbey above fell into ruin, becoming the stunning roofless cathedral we see today, a tourist attraction whose greatest secret lay sleeping just a few meters below. But whispers never truly die. In the late 20th century, a team of historical researchers piecing together cryptic clues from old manuscripts and local folklore claimed to have rediscovered the entrance. Their unofficial report, which was quickly suppressed, is chilling. It describes finding the chamber exactly as the legends told: the carvings, the circular pool, and the unnerving hum. They confirmed the liquid was high-purity mercury, and they all reported seeing them, the faces in the reflection. One researcher, a staunch skeptic, described seeing the clear image of a young monk with a distinctive scar over his eye, only to later find a 14th century illustration of a brother from that very abbey with the exact same scar. He resigned from his position a week later and never spoke of the incident again. So, what does this mean? Is there truly a pool of liquid time hidden beneath an Italian monastery? Is it a geological freak of nature, or something more? The scientific community, of course, demands concrete proof, which is impossible to obtain without official, sanctioned excavation. But those who have studied the evidence believe we are on the cusp of a discovery that could rewrite our understanding of physics and history. The forgotten fountain of the alchemists waits, humming its eternal song, holding its mirrored secrets, ready to show us that the past is never truly gone. It's just waiting for us to look in the right place. The potential is staggering. Imagine being able to study history not just from texts, but from a direct visual record. Imagine understanding the flow of time itself. The fountain represents the ultimate union of science and mysticism, the very goal the alchemists sought. It's a powerful reminder that there are still profound mysteries hidden in the world, tucked away in forgotten corners, waiting for those brave enough to look beyond the veil of the ordinary. The next time you see a beautiful ruin, wonder what secrets might be sleeping right under your feet. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this exploration of history's hidden mysteries, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the unexplained. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Fountain of the Alchemists. Until next time, keep questioning. Deep beneath the shifting sands of a forgotten desert, far from any known civilization, a discovery was made that would challenge everything we thought we knew about human history. It wasn't a tomb filled with gold or a lost city of legend. It was something far more profound, far more unsettling. It was a library, but not a library of paper or parchment. This was a library of stone. Imagine walking into a vast, subterranean cavern. The air is still and heavy with the weight of millennia. The only sound is the soft crunch of your boots on the dusty floor. And all around you, from floor to ceiling, are shelves carved directly into the rock. On these shelves rest thousands upon thousands of stone slabs, each one perfectly cut, smooth to the touch, and eerily silent. This is the place archaeologists have nicknamed the Silent Archive, a stone library that holds a secret so strange it defies all attempts at understanding. For decades, this discovery was kept under wraps, a classified project known only to a select few. The initial team was baffled. The slabs were completely blank. No carvings, no paintings, no inscriptions. They appeared to be just polished stone, an immense and pointless labor. Were they building materials for a city that was never constructed? A monument to an unknown god of minimalism? Theories flew, but none of them stuck. The project was almost abandoned, dismissed as a geological anomaly or an unfinished ancient project. But then, a young, curious geologist, Dr. Aris Thorne, decided to run a full-spectrum analysis on one of the slabs. Just for kicks, really. He wasn't expecting to find anything. He ran ultraviolet, X-ray, and, finally, infrared scans. And under the invisible glow of infrared light, the library came alive. Every single slab, previously thought to be blank, was suddenly covered in intricate, glowing symbols. It was a language unlike any ever seen. It wasn't cuneiform, it wasn't hieroglyphics, it wasn't anything remotely familiar. The characters were a complex mix of geometric shapes and flowing, almost biological-looking lines. They pulsed with a soft internal light, as if the stones themselves were communicating. The excitement was electrifying. This was it, the Mother Lode, a completely unknown language from a lost civilization. The potential was limitless. This library could rewrite history. It could tell us who these people were, what they believed, what they achieved. The world's best linguists, cryptographers, and historians were brought in. For years, they tried to crack the code. They compared it to every known language family. They ran frequency analyses. They looked for patterns, for anything that could give them a foothold. They found nothing. It was like trying to read sheet music without knowing what a note was. The language was perfectly consistent, but utterly alien. It was a lock with no key. As the years turned into a decade, frustration mounted. The stone library remained silent, its glowing secrets locked away. But then came the dawn of a new age, the age of artificial intelligence. Powerful new AI models were being developed, capable of recognizing patterns that the human brain could never hope to see. These deep learning systems had already proven themselves by translating other lost languages. So, the team decided to turn the full power of modern technology onto the silent archive. They painstakingly scanned every single slab, creating a massive digital database of the glowing symbols. They fed this data into the most advanced AI translator ever built, a machine named Oracle. The team waited with bated breath as Oracle's processors whirred, its algorithms sifting through trillions of possibilities, cross-referencing, learning, and attempting to build a linguistic model from scratch. The process took months. The AI worked tirelessly, its progress reports showing it was identifying syntax, grammar, and a complex vocabulary. It was working. The team was on the verge of a breakthrough that would echo through history. Finally, the day came. Oracle announced it had a preliminary translation. The lead researcher, Dr. Lena Petrova, stood before the main console, her heart pounding. The entire team gathered around, the culmination of a lifetime's work resting on this moment. She typed the command, "Translate slab A1, shelf 1." The screen flickered. The AI processed the request, and then 2 words appeared. Just 2. They were simple, chilling, and utterly inexplicable. The translation read, "Don't wake." Confusion rippled through the room. Don't wake? What did that mean? Was it a fragment? A mistake? They tried another slab, B7, shelf 3. The result was the same. Don't wake. They ran a dozen more, 100 more. They fed the entire library's data into the translator, asking for a translation of any part of it, any slab, any symbol. The result was always the same. No matter which slab they chose, no matter which section of the intricate text they asked the AI to decipher, the answer never changed. Every single one of the thousands of glowing slabs, each covered in unique and complex symbols, translated to the exact same phrase. Don't wake them. It made no sense. Why create a library of thousands of unique stone books just to write the same 3 words over and over? Is it a warning? If so, a warning about what? Who is them? And why is it so important that they remain asleep? The AI was insistent. It wasn't a mistake. The linguistic structure, the context it had built, all pointed to this one terrifyingly simple phrase. The AI's analysis suggested that the complexity of the symbols wasn't for conveying different messages, but for adding layers of emphasis, of urgency, of desperate pleading to the same core message. Some theorists on the project now believe the library isn't a collection of stories, but a single, massive, magical, or technological containment field. They argue that each slab is a lock, a ward, a piece of a powerful spell designed to keep something dormant. The writing, they say, isn't meant to be read as a book. It's the operational code for the prison itself. The glowing symbols are the bars of a cage we can't see. This theory opens up a terrifying can of worms. What could be so dangerous that an entire civilization would dedicate its existence to building such an elaborate cage? What are they? Ancient gods? Cosmic entities? A biological plague locked in stasis? We don't know. All we have is the warning, repeated thousands of times in a language we can't understand, translated by a machine that can only tell us the one thing it's sure of. The project has now shifted from translation to preservation. The new directive is simple. Do not disturb the library. The team's mission has become one of guardianship. They are the unwitting wardens of a prison they don't understand, guarding prisoners they've never seen, all based on a 3-word warning from the distant past. The infrared lights have been turned off. The stone slabs are once again dark, silent, and blank, and the team can only hope that by leaving them alone, they are honoring the desperate plea of the library's creators. They left a warning. Don't wake them. The question that now haunts the dreams of every person who knows about this place is, what happens if we do? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you found this mystery as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest enigmas. Let me know in the comments what you think they are. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever stood in a place so quiet you could hear your own heartbeat? Now, imagine being deep beneath the scorching sands of the Sahara Desert, kilometers from any sign of modern civilization, and hearing something else entirely. Not the whisper of wind, not the skittering of unseen creatures, but a sound that defies all explanation. A low, rhythmic hum, as if a colossal machine were buried alive beneath your feet. This isn't just a story. It's a mystery that begins with a team of geological surveyors who stumbled upon something that could rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. Our story starts in one of the most remote, inhospitable places on Earth. A team of geologists was using advanced ground-penetrating radar to map subterranean water sources, a vital task in the ever-expanding Sahara. Day after day, it was the same routine: scan, analyze, and move on. But one afternoon, their sensitive audio equipment started picking up an anomaly. It was a faint, low-frequency vibration. At first, they dismissed it as equipment interference or perhaps a distant, unknown seismic event. But the sound was persistent. It didn't fade. It pulsed with an unnerving regularity. Curiosity got the better of them. They triangulated the sound's origin point, leading them to a series of unassuming rock formations, barely visible against the endless dunes. There, hidden by shadows and centuries of sand, was a narrow fissure, the entrance to a cave system not marked on any map. As they cautiously ventured inside, the hum grew stronger, vibrating not just in their ears, but through the very soles of their boots. The air was cool and still, yet the cave itself seemed to be alive, breathing with a steady, mechanical rhythm. What could possibly be making this sound? There were no power lines for hundreds of kilometers, no factories, no engines, nothing that could explain this industrial-sounding drone deep within the earth. The team leader, a seasoned geologist named Dr. Eris Thorne, knew this was no natural phenomenon. Natural sounds in caves, like dripping water or wind, are chaotic and random. This was different. It was structured. It was organized. The hum had a distinct pattern, a sequence of pulses and pauses that repeated with mathematical precision. It was like listening to the heartbeat of something colossal and ancient. Armed with high-fidelity recording equipment, they spent the next 48 hours capturing the mysterious sound. Back at their base camp, they ran the audio through a spectrogram, a tool that visualizes sound frequencies, and what they saw on the screen made the hair on their arms stand up. The rhythmic pulses and gaps weren't random noise. When translated from sound waves into a visual pattern, they formed a clear, undeniable structure. It looked exactly like a binary data stream, a sequence of ones and zeros, the fundamental language of all digital computers. A perfect digital code emanating from a cave that had been sealed for potentially thousands of years. The implications were staggering. How was this possible? Who, or what, could have created a machine capable of generating a binary signal, long before the dawn of human technology? The team was now faced with a discovery far beyond the scope of geology. They had stumbled upon an artifact, a message or a machine that simply should not exist. The desert had been guarding a secret, not of water, but of a technology so advanced it seemed alien. The first question they had to answer was, is this natural? Could some bizarre, undiscovered geological process mimic a binary code? They consulted with geophysicists, acousticians, and even mathematicians. The consensus was a firm no. The pattern was too complex, too structured. The probability of a natural formation of piezoelectric crystals, for example, vibrating in such a perfect non-random sequence due to seismic activity, was infinitesimally small. It was like finding a river that had naturally carved Shakespeare's sonnets into its banks. It defied logic. The sound had to be artificial. This led them to the second, more profound question. Who built it? The cave system showed signs of ancient human presence, faint traces of ochre paintings near the entrance, depicting starry skies and strange geometric shapes. But these paintings were dated to be over 10,000 years old. Could a prehistoric civilization, one we know only through primitive tools and rock art, have possessed the knowledge to create a digital signal generator? It sounds like science fiction, but we are constantly discovering that ancient cultures were far more sophisticated than we give them credit for. Think of the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek analog computer. Perhaps this Saharan hum was the product of a forgotten African civilization, a lost kingdom that reached an incredible technological peak before vanishing into the sands of time. Let's dig into that idea. Legends across North Africa speak of advanced civilizations that flourished before being swallowed by the desert. The Garamantes, for instance, built sophisticated underground irrigation systems that allowed a city to thrive in the middle of what is now the Libyan desert. Could this humming cave be a remnant of such a culture? Perhaps the machine wasn't a communication device, but a power source, an ancient geothermal generator that has been running continuously for millennia. The binary code might not be a message, but simply the operational frequency of the machine itself, like the steady hum of a modern power plant. Of course, there's always the more sensational theory, the one that whispers in the back of your mind when faced with such an impossible artifact. Could this be extraterrestrial? The idea of an alien probe or beacon, buried deep underground for safety and preservation, is a classic trope for a reason. An automated system, left behind by visitors long ago, patiently broadcasting a signal or simply maintaining its function until its creators return. The binary code could be a simple "I am here" signal, a cosmic lighthouse waiting to be discovered. The cave paintings of stars and geometric shapes suddenly take on a whole new meaning in this context. Were they attempts by early humans to depict the sky gods who left this humming machine behind? As the team continued to analyze the code, they made another breakthrough. The binary sequence wasn't just a simple repeating pattern. It contained nested layers of complexity, mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio embedded within the signal. This wasn't just a machine humming. This was a machine broadcasting information. It was a message that had been playing on a loop for thousands of years, waiting for someone with the right technology to listen. The challenge now is one of decryption. The code is clearly intelligent, but what is it saying? Is it a warning, a history, a star map? The team, now expanded to include cryptographers and linguists, is working around the clock. The discovery has been kept under wraps, known only to a select few. The implications are too massive to release to the public without more information. Imagine the global impact of confirming that an advanced technological civilization existed on Earth 10,000 years ago, or that we found a functioning alien artifact. It would change everything we know about our history and our place in the universe. The cave itself remains a puzzle. Further exploration has been deemed too dangerous for now. The hum intensifies the deeper they go, and the vibrations become so powerful they risk causing a cave-in. They need to find a way to explore it remotely, with robots that can withstand the intense energy. What lies at the source of the hum? Is it a crystalline structure, a metallic sphere, or something beyond our imagination? This story of the humming cave sits at the crossroads of science, history, and mythology. It forces us to question the linear progression of human history we've been taught. It suggests that our past might be filled with more technological wonders than we ever dreamed. Perhaps we are not the first technological civilization on this planet. Perhaps we are just the most recent, rediscovering the echoes of those who came before. The Sahara Desert, a place we think of as empty and barren, might be holding the key to unlocking the deepest secrets of our past. The rhythmic hum continues its ancient broadcast, a digital ghost in a prehistoric machine, waiting for us to finally understand its message. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. What do you think is the source of the hum? A lost civilization, an alien beacon, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you love exploring the world's greatest mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures. Until next time, keep questioning. It sounds like something straight out of a myth, doesn't it? But what if I told you that such a flame might actually exist? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing and mysterious legends of ancient Greece, the story of the immortal flame. Imagine this. Hidden away in a remote, undisclosed location in Greece, a single flame flickers just as it has for over 2,400 years. This isn't just any fire. According to legend, it was first lit by priests in a sacred temple, a beacon of eternal hope and divine presence. Through centuries of empires rising and falling, through wars and peace, a secret society of guardians has supposedly kept this flame alive, passing the duty down from generation to generation. Now, this is where the story takes a turn from historical legend to scientific mystery. Whispers and fragmented accounts suggest that modern scientists were granted rare access to this flame. What they supposedly found is mind-boggling. They couldn't extinguish it. Water, fire extinguishers, even a vacuum chamber. Nothing worked. The flame simply defied the laws of physics as we know them. It seemed to burn without consuming any visible fuel and without producing any smoke or ash. Intrigued, they decided to analyze its composition using advanced spectroscopy. The results were astounding. The analysis revealed all the expected elements you'd find in a normal flame: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, but there was something else. A unique, unidentified spectral line appeared on their readings, an element that doesn't exist on our current periodic table. They named this hypothetical element ethyl, derived from an ancient word for eternal. Could this be real? Could an ancient civilization have harnessed an unknown form of energy or a substance we have yet to discover? This idea is absolutely fascinating. Think about the implications. If such an element exists, it could revolutionize our understanding of chemistry and physics. It could unlock new forms of clean, sustainable energy that we can't even begin to imagine. Of course, we have to approach this with a healthy dose of skepticism. There's no verifiable, peer-reviewed scientific paper confirming the existence of the immortal flame, or the element ethyl. Most of this story is pieced together from anecdotal evidence, obscure historical texts, and online forums. It's a compelling narrative that blurs the line between myth and potential reality. So, what could be the scientific explanation, if any? Some theorists speculate it might not be a chemical reaction at all. Perhaps it's a natural phenomenon, like a perpetual geological gas leak that has been burning for centuries. There are places on Earth, like the Eternal Flame Falls in New York, where natural gas seeps through rock fissures and can sustain a flame for long periods. Could the Greek flame be a similar but far more stable and ancient version of this? Another theory leans towards advanced ancient technology. We know ancient civilizations were incredibly innovative. The Antikythera mechanism, an ancient analog computer, shows us that their technological capabilities were far beyond what we once believed. Is it possible they discovered a unique material or a principle of energy that was lost to time? Perhaps a form of cold fusion or stable plasma contained by some unknown method. The idea that the flame reacts to human intention is another layer of the legend. Stories claim that in the presence of a calm, respectful observer, the flame burns steadily. But when faced with aggression or disbelief, it flickers wildly, as if it has a consciousness of its own. This part of the story pushes us firmly into the realm of metaphysics, suggesting a connection between mind and matter that science is only just beginning to explore. While the scientific community hasn't confirmed this story, the legend of the immortal flame of Greece persists. It captures our imagination because it represents so many things we find fascinating: the mystery of the past, the limits of our current knowledge, and the possibility that there are still incredible wonders waiting to be discovered. It's a reminder that the world might be far more mysterious and magical than we think. Whether it's a geological anomaly, a piece of lost ancient technology, or a complete myth, the story serves as a powerful symbol. It represents endurance, knowledge, and the unquenchable human spirit of inquiry. It encourages us to keep asking questions, to keep exploring, and to never assume we know everything. The search for answers, whether they lead to a new element or simply to a deeper appreciation for history and myth, is a journey worth taking. What do you think? Is the immortal flame a real, undiscovered wonder? Or is it one of history's most beautiful and enduring legends? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about this incredible mystery. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this exploration of history and mystery, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.